Good morning and a very warm welcome to the Isle of Man for our fourth and sadly our last day of the Netball Europe Open Challenge 2019 here at the National Sports Centre. And what an amazing weekend of netball we have seen so far. Our nations here, 7 competing teams, host Isle of Man, Gibraltar, Republic of Ireland, Emirates, Israel, the Cayman Islands, along with the UK Armed Forces, have really brought their best match play to the court this weekend. Don't miss a minute of the action today in what will certainly be a decider for the Netball Europe Open. I'm Lynn Carpenter and I'm delighted to be joined again today in the commentary box by Nat Pepperell, former coach for Welsh Netball. Well, Nat, we're here last day, 3 games to go, and it's literally all to play for. We're about to see Gibraltar take to the court against Emirates. What are your thoughts on this game?
Well, it's all down to the wire because of how it's played out. If Republic of Ireland beat the Isle of Man in the next game, then goal difference is going to count hugely for Gibraltar now. They could still win the gold if that happens, and they put a lot of goals on Emirates.
So as you can see, our 2 teams lining up here today. Emirates against Gibraltar, both so much at stake here for them. Let me tell you who's starting 7 for Emirates. Goal shooter Marshall, Stapley at goal attack, Wright in at wing attack, their captain Carly Lewis at centre, wing defence Tucky, goal defence Sol, and goalkeeper Porter. The coach for Emirates is Olivia Mason. And now let me bring you Gibraltar's starting 7. Goal shooter Ferrer, goal attack Pozo, wing attack Janice Marino, centre Joel Moreno, wing defence Reyes, in at goal defence is Ocaña, and their captain Bryony Ravino in at goalkeeper. The coach for Gibraltar is Sarah Payas. So the players are shortly to take to the court here today. Our umpires will shortly be getting this match underway with the ball carrier James Thomas and Rachel Radford, with our reserve umpire Leonard Masser. So what are we going to see today?
Well, I think Emirates will come out fighting. They had an absolute cracking game last night and did the best netball that I've seen them play as of yet. Defensively, they were absolutely on fire. But like I say, Gibraltar need a high score line, so they're going to be out fighting as well. It's going to be highly contested.
So when these 2 teams met last year in the Netball Europe Open, it was Emirates who took that match 35-29, so low scoring, very close.
Yeah, and I think it is going to be a game of 2 defensive ends today. The pairing between Ocaña and Raveno has been outstanding all tournament. And then equally, Gillian Porter and Victoria Sol at the back for Emirates were great yesterday. And Gillian Porter has really stood out for me, so I think it's going to be a heavily defensive game.
And Stapley didn't quite sink that one, so picked up by Ravino. Great play by Carly Lewis.
Yeah, just a shame for Gibraltar because it was a really nice long through court ball. Ocaña just couldn't quite keep her balance.
Back to Gibraltar again. Early nerves showing here, a few turnovers, unforced errors.
Yeah, and both teams are aware of how important this game is. I mean, Emirates will really want to come out with the win to really consolidate how well they've been improving. And like I say, Gibraltar, goal differences at stake here for them.
Great shot by Amy Pozo. And we saw, as you were saying yesterday, literally 2 different games for Gibraltar. Earlier in the day, they played the Republic of Ireland. They took that game, and it's the first time Gibraltar have ever beaten the Republic team. So a huge victory, but back on court less than 3 hours later against Isle of Man. Only 1 goal in it the year before, taken by the Isle of Man 49-46.
Yeah, and they were winning at various periods throughout that game as well, and were doing a really good job. They just couldn't close that one out. They seemed to lose their heads a little bit. Again, we had some issues with shooters shooting short, which is something we've seen throughout the tournament for Gibraltar. But Amy Pozo's come out on fire today.
So 2-0. Gibraltar lead Emirates.
That's a great drive through the middle space there by Eleanor Wright. Someone needed to come through that zone. Yeah, great holding there by Amy Marshall. She's been really good over this tournament as well on her front hold and sinking her goals.
So Stapley pulls one back, 2-1. Long way to go in this game now, still.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've seen as well from lots of these games where they've been really important that the lead has swung back and forth, and it's invariably not until the third or the fourth quarter that we've seen a team really stamp their authority and pull away a little bit. So I think we'll be in for the long haul in this game.
Thinking that game against Isle of Man yesterday, Gibraltar got a bit static. They weren't driving onto the ball, they weren't really giving options, they were standing to receive, and you know, they've got to hopefully come out today having reflected on that overnight.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it, because we can talk about why that was, but actually we don't really know why it was, and really it'll be for them to have reflected on what it was that went wrong and hopefully what it is they need to do to make sure it doesn't happen again. It's a great pick-up by Carly Lewis. A nice quick transition for Emirates. Just need to be confident to give that first time ball, Eleanor Wright. She's holding on to it for a little bit too long.
Gibraltar keen to move the ball up quickly. There's that full court press again by Emirates.
Yeah, but nice base by Marino and in the middle, and the two Marino sisters, very, very well experienced players. So they'll be really good for getting them out of any tricky situations they might find themselves in.
Pozo, so confident for such a young player.
Yeah, it's really good to see her shooting so well. She's been inconsistent, I would say, for her this tournament, but hopefully today she will be on fire. Attacking contact called. We've seen a few of those attacking obstruction calls. And there you see Marino just slowing it down, giving the nod for a player to drive through, because the last two balls before that were a bit frantic. It's a good experienced player.
And again, unlucky. We saw a few of those yesterday.
Yeah, just rolling around the rim, painful.
So Porter and Seoul were effective in that defensive combination for Emirates yesterday.
Yeah, good work by Marshall. Not posting up too early, because Ravenia is really good at getting her feet round, but just turn into ball when it matters. Kanya needs a bit more of an angle on her through court drive. That's why she's struggling to balance at the moment.
Yeah, great defensive play by Victoria Seoul there. Read the ball over. But that's just costly.
Yeah, it's those small errors, and we've seen that from various teams, but we've definitely seen it from the Emirates. It's just almost that rush passing, and they don't need to do it.
Ferrer really plays that strong front position well. Just discipline last 3 seconds on the hold. Nicely. So 4-1, Gibraltar now lead. Their centre pass. We've already seen 6 minutes on the clock go here.
Yeah, really nice feed there. Good challenge by Victoria Seoul. Courtney Ferreira not impressed with that decision.
Well, we've talked frequently this weekend about you've got to react to what the umpires do, whether you agree or not.
Yeah, absolutely. The umpire is always right, and if the umpire didn't see it, it didn't happen. Oh, unlucky there by Reyes. Good pressure. She just needs to be off a little bit more, just coming around with her arm.
It's really good ball into Amy Marshall. Good angle. Stapley. Pull one back. Against the Gibraltar centre, they really are just not looking after the ball on their own possession.
No. which will be disappointing for them. Oh, beautiful quick pass in there by Carly Lewis. And that's the real difference between a first-second ball and a 3-second ball. You know, sometimes you've got to hold on to it, but sometimes when those feet are on in the circle, you've got to give that first-second ball, because if you hang on to it, it's gone. Amy Poser, I think, will choose to pass it off from her. If you look at the Gibraltar mid-court as well, their centre wing attack position really well around the circle edge to open their shooters up.
Oh, just complete misunderstanding, not wanting to lose the front ball, but great response by Marino.
Yeah, she is feisty, fiery and passionate beyond belief, and it lives and breathes netball. So you will definitely never see Marino give up.
5-3 the score here. Great take by Stapley into Marshall.
Emirates,
good understanding.
Yeah, just a bit forced at the moment by Emirates. They're struggling on their centre pass just to get it through. Lots of lateral balls and lateral passes, and that last ball was well held by Stapley, but more forced.
You've got to be careful. Porter doesn't give too many of those away in the circle. Oh, good reaction by her though. You wonder sometimes when you're in that dead ball situation, take the shot, don't pass it, because
yeah, it's tricky. Some shooters, I think, pass it off to rebalance, but sometimes they pass it off because it's a bit more of a habit. You need confidence to put that shot up, especially if you're within range. Yeah, Taki just holding Marino there.
Jose. Great rebound by Farah.
She gets in a good position, Farah, under the post.
Yeah, as I say, she's not the tallest shooter, but her positioning for the rebound is really effective.
I think in fairness to the Gibraltar shooters, if they miss, they tend to shoot short, and Farah puts herself so that she puts the defender just on the position that would be good if they were shooting long, but they never tend to overshoot, so she always comes out with a rebound.
A nice interplay between Wright and Marshall. 7-4. Just 5 minutes left now, it's first quarter.
Keisha ran on Facebook, Gibraltarian, not Gibraltar. I'm really sorry. I will make sure I correct that. Thank you for that input.
Oh, unlucky by Pozo. So if you are watching, you're joining us on Sunday morning here for the second of 4 games today. Remember, use our hashtag #NEOpen to talk to us on Twitter or come through on our Facebook page, and Nat and I will give you a mention.
Again, just a bit of a misunderstanding, and that started from the reset because Eleanor Wright didn't keep going on that front drive. If she'd have kept going, she would have been able to play the ball into Stapley ball side, and it's those little errors that start to creep in.
Clever play by Farah, just resetting herself, getting a balance. 8 plays 4 here. We saw Gibraltar take quite a lead against the Isle of Man yesterday in that first quarter, 15-8, but they couldn't sustain it, so I wonder what will be going through their minds now as they head towards quarter time.
Yeah, hopefully they'll have been that game, because they have had some absolute cracking games, and you need to bin it and move on and focus on the good stuff and the stuff that you can do well. But they have no doubts that they'll be aware of the scoreboard and aware of the goal difference just in case the Republic of Ireland beat the Isle of Man.
Great shot by Stapley there. Keeps that gap to 3, 8-5.
Unlucky Gillian Porter there. She's getting closer to those.
She is. Good approach by Poser, still putting the shots up. Now 9-5.
And again, that's the difficulty that they're having at the moment from that centre pass.
The angle just wasn't on there, was it?
No. And the thing is, those defensive pairing between Akanya and Raveno and Reyes, it's a really good defensive unit, so you can't really play away from the ball too much.
Oh, unlucky.
Yeah, nice backspace there by Amy Marshall, and nicely weighted ball by Carly Lewis.
So we've got just over 2 minutes here in this first quarter of what we know is a critical game. Oh, great hands by Jill Porter there. There was the option to go over to Pozo.
Yeah.
Didn't quite see it.
Nicely weighted ball, beautiful.
10-4. Now, we've got less than 2 on the clock. Nice pop back by Marshall.
Yeah, good shot. Just Marshall and Stapley doing the same movement at the moment, and actually one of them needs to do the back and one of them needs to pull the front just to draw the defence off.
Taken by Farah. Great shot, keeps the pressure on Emirates. We're into that last minute now, Nat. 11-7.
Yeah, nice steady start, I think, from both teams. Emirates will probably want to be chipping away a little bit more. I think Gibraltar, however, will be pleased with the scoreline. Just start nice and steady, and then I think they're only in third gear, to be honest with you, at the moment. I think there's a lot still more to come.
That's great. Shot by Stapley. Still 30 seconds on this clock. So Jib have got to look after the ball. Offside. It was. So they don't want to give away a penalty at this stage.
Yeah, good umpiring there by Rachel Radford just to hold time.
Oh. Great time rebound there again by Farah. That is really important because that takes them into quarter time. 4 up, 12-8. Not dissimilar to how we saw them start yesterday. So how much of the game yesterday, you talk about putting it in the bin when you come on the court. Waitamunu, anybody's ever played with her, would always say, don't have a funeral, forget it, move on. Will they still be remembering that lead they had yesterday and the fact they lost the game to Isle of Man after the next 3 quarters, do you think?
I don't think they'll remember it quarter by quarter, if I'm honest. I think they'll remember the hurt of the loss, and in some ways I think for Gibraltar that will probably spur them on. They came off a great win over Republic of Ireland, so yesterday their emotions must have been all over the place. I'm sure the coaching team have worked hard just to refocus them in and bring those emotions, elated and disappointment, back to, to focus on the game. I don't think they'll be too focused on the past. I think they'll be focused on the future, and like I say, this goal difference.
So as you can see, we're bringing you some of the highlights of this first quarter, and as we have said, there have been many of them. Real good performances by both teams, a little bit to work on and focus, as you're saying. So some of the running the options a little bit more perhaps in the Emirates circle, not necessarily doing the same repeated moves. Ravina and Okanya are really experienced in there. They will shut those down. Yeah,
they need to split them a bit more in the circle. So you often find Amy Marshall and Zoe Stapley in the same space. So either both on the baseline or both a little bit higher. And what they really need to do is split them. So if one of them is running the goal line, the other one needs to pull top, just to make sure that you spread the defence. And they can do a rotating circle. We've seen them do it before, but it needs to be a reasonably large rotation where they're pulling all the way, and almost hitting the edges of the circle before pulling back in. Alternate to that, you can have Marshall holding the front space, and we've seen her do that well, and Stapley has a beautiful baseline drive. So time your entry and then have that so that as soon as the feeder turns and looks, the hold is on and Stapley runs it hard.
Well, they have a very experienced coaching bench there. The Emirates, Olivia Mason and Deb Jones, both really excellent players as well as coaches now. So I'm sure they'll be giving that some thought about what they do. Gibraltar's been fairly steady, perhaps a little bit underperformed in some of the shooting by Amy Pozo, but will they change it, do you think, this early stage?
No, I don't think so. I think they probably need a half to settle, but you've got Megan Martinez, who's come on really well, and May Truman Davis, who equally comes on well. I think for them, it's probably just the little errors. So they've given away a few balls through court just by putting people on too much extension. I mentioned before about the drive of your defence through the court. You really want that a diagonal run through the court. Sometimes they're running a bit flat, which makes it a hard ball to catch. And then going into your end third, we've just had a couple of moments where they've slowed onto the ball, so that means as the ball's coming to you, you've taken the pace off your run. That allows the defender to come through. They've got to fully move onto it.
So let's have a look and see what, if any, changes either of these two teams are making. Looks pretty much like business as usual for Gibraltar there. Nat, can't see any changes. And equally down the other end.
Yeah, both teams running out the same lineup that they started with.
So if you are watching, and I'm sure there are many of you who are tuning in here this Sunday, remember, talk to us through #NEOpen or our Facebook page. Gary Burgess is watching, our friend and umpire. You're obviously not too busy today, Gary, after yesterday. Heard you had a brilliant match, so well done there. Welcome here in the Isle of Man. Siobhan Gregory is supporting Gibraltar, and Jane Bryan, again, of course, supporting Emirates all the way. So huge number of people watching. Hope you're enjoying it. It's going to be tense. Long shot by Pozo.
Yeah, good confidence to stick that through the net. Well done. Still, that's where you see both shooters
disappearing to the post, leaving Ravina Akania in the front position there. That's a lot of Gibraltar defence to try and get the ball through.
Yeah, and that quality defence as well.
So this is where they've just got to not be too static, which will lead to turnover.
Yeah, that's the little errors that we were talking about to start off with at the quarter break. Have to keep moving, you have to keep working. That's better. Nice front position by Amy Marshall.
I'm always impressed with the rebound position the two Gibraltar defenders put on. They read the game really well. They position themselves so that if the ball doesn't hit the post, they've got a good opportunity to take it.
There's good pressure by the Emirates. They're sitting behind the players and keeping them up, which sometimes is quite difficult because it puts you on ball side and you feel like you're not intercepting, but it puts real pressure on the opposition.
And there we go, forced a ball that really wasn't on, the angle wasn't right.
Yeah, and
Marina was never going to get that.
Yeah, and that's the pressure build as well, isn't it? Pressure builds errors.
Oh, great interception by Zania Reyes.
Good decision there again by Marina, and when we talk about their experience, that's exactly it. She could have carried on firing that ball down, but she's realised that now's the time just for a little bit of calm to settle, and so sent it back to reset.
Oh, pop that one in. So 14-9, turnover on Emirates centre pass.
Beautiful second phase. Really nice play there by Gibraltar.
Oh, yeah, she was replaying it.
I jinxed them.
sometimes when the shooter has that position, they're in a good position for them in terms of distance from post. You want them to put the shot up and not pass, and it's such a difficult one to call sometimes, isn't it?
It is, and some coaches actually like them to be closer because of the shot percentage. So there's a space sort of known as Paradise Island, which you're almost within touching distance of the post, which makes your percentages higher. So it might also be something they've asked to do. Oh, well covered by Marino. Carly Lewis was free then.
The umpire's playing advantage really well. Great high shot by Marshall.
Yeah, nice to see her clapping her team as well.
So pulled one back.
Reyes on the back and up.
Well, it's a big swing over 3 channels there. I feel nervous for them when they do that.
I know, over 3 channels and over Reyes. It's just not going to go. And that again, the positioning of mid-court on the circle edge to allow that to get closer to post.
So will they now punish Gibraltar for that missed shot?
They're just all in the same space at the moment. It's good of Carly Lewis to have come round and created a bit.
They're hesitating to give that front ball, aren't they?
They are, and you know, we talk about pressure and pressure situations and what that does to players, and it does one of 2 things. It either makes them take in way too many cues and hold on to the ball and then not release it, or it makes them only see one option.
So that's the turnover back, 14-11 here. Still 10 minutes until half time.
Yeah, nice placement on that pass.
That's a tough one for defender, isn't it? Shooter steps in.
Yeah, the key is not to touch the ball or their arm, so stay your ground but stand nice and tall.
Nice play. Oof.
Good
yeah,
pressure.
too much extension on the pass there for the player, for Sapley.
That was a
Good
nice
screen.
ball.
So 16-11.
They played out of that well because they got into a bit of difficulty there with everyone around the ball, but very clever play by Janice Marino on give and go. Gets it safely to the circle.
There's another of those rebounds we've talked about. So gap now 6. And we know this game isn't just important for who wins it, but it's also important if we do get that situation where the Isle of Man beat Ireland in the next game up today. It will go down to goal difference between Gibraltar, Ireland and the Isle of Man.
Yeah, if the Isle of Man win, they'll win the tournament. If the Republic of Ireland win, then goal difference will determine first and second and third place.
So it's not only important that Gibraltar win this, but they win it by a huge margin. And conversely, of course, Emirates are out here to take this match strongly like they did last year.
Yeah, I mean, don't quote me on it, but I've done a little bit of maths, and as long as it's a reasonable scoreline and not too crazy, it needs to be just over 15 goals. I think that they need to win it by. Obviously, depending on the other score.
Oh, great vision in there. Lovely rotation to the post. Not quite the advantage in terms of where they end up with the ball. Well, good position by Seoul.
Nice through court by Tucky, but this is where your goal defence needs to be swinging round.
So we had no options. Everyone dropped away and a diagonal ball straight across the court and out the other side.
Yeah, you need your goal defence still driving through the court on the opposite side of the ball to open up the court should you need.
Great confident shot by Amy Pozo.
Yeah, and you can see it. She's got it today, hasn't she? She just turns and walks away with such confidence, shoulders back.
Oh, perfect vision. They weren't expecting that.
That's the bit where they've got to be careful. This is where it broke down for them a bit yesterday. You have to keep moving on to everything. Timing on that baseline drive was spot on.
So 20 now plays 11. These last 2 or 3 minutes have really swung the match in Gibraltar's favour.
Yeah, they're playing good clinical netball, and there's been a few errors by Emirates, in just in terms of all being in the same space.
Ooh. That was good defending, just leaving the ball out.
So you see there, Gillian Porter, it wasn't a great pass to her, but she swung around to open up the court, and that's what's really important.
Great defending there. Emirates really looking for the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's just outstanding defence. They played them all on the same side, and then Okanya running her feet to get that tip. And that's the difference in the circle attack. So you had Amy Pozo running the base towards the ball, and then Courtney Ferreira entering the top to the post.
And that type of play and the quality being shown by Gibraltar is the difference here. We're up to 10, 21 plays 11.
If you just look at the court balance now, you can just see how everybody is all on that side. That's nice by Kylie Lewis to come around, but just the pass not getting there.
I mean, there's lots about both teams that are impressive, but what's really impressing me today about the Gibraltar team is how that back four working as a unit so effectively, not just go defence, go keeper, but all four of them really focused on what their what the strategy is and how they are pushing Emirates to the side, closing them down, not giving them the options.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's really hard sometimes because you feel, as a player, you might feel as though you're free and you don't quite realise what the defence have done for you, that they've actually put you in that position. I'm not surprised about this. We see Sarah Donovan taking to the court and Amy Marshall going off, and I think that's quite clever because Sarah Donovan is a clever player and she does create space a little bit more. Not as accurate as Marshall, but will certainly help get the ball to Stapley more.
Yeah, Donovan had a great game yesterday for Emirates when they played the UK Armed Forces last night. I think just putting her on the court could give them the edge now.
Yeah, you can see already
attack.
she's
There
holding
you go.
that space.
Completely different style of play. Gibraltar have got to adapt to that quite quickly. 21-12. There's a number of spectators here in the arena who can see her cheering on Emirates, not because they have any particular difference between the two sides, but they know if Emirates win this, it gives Isle of Man even more opportunity to finish in the gold medal position.
Yeah, clever supporters. Yeah, great split.
They do that so well.
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work on the training court. You can see what they've been doing over the past year. So we talk about the level of competition that teams get in this section, but what you can see here is a lot of hard work that Gibraltar have put in to be playing those structures and to be playing them consistently. They've done a really, really good job.
So the gameplay here is really top quality. We're loving the netball. We hope you are too. So many people I can see tuning in from Gibraltar. Suzette Galligan. Suzette, we love you too. Glad you're watching here. Kate Jenkins supporting the Emirates. Does anyone out there want to give us your views on who you think is going to win this game and why? And we will do our best to bring that to you. So here we are just 3 minutes away from half time. Gibraltar 22, Emirates 12. Stapley pulls one back. I love the way when Donovan's on the court, she's clapping her players, really encouraging them. She's such a leader from that goal shooter position.
Yeah, and we were saying yesterday, even from this position, when you see her do that, it makes me want to run on and go and give her the ball. So it must do wonders for your team. You must want to get her as many balls as possible just so you can have that yes.
So 23-13.
Oh, unlucky
Just
Eleanor
that.
Wright.
Yeah, unfortunate. Oh, foot up to, but not on the line. Ravina will be very annoyed with herself.
Oh.
Great ball, what a bullet.
Yeah.
How does she hold those?
Well, held Zoe Stapley.
And then does that. Amazing.
I'm not sure it had to be quite that hard, but at least it was Stapley behind it.
That responsibility of the ball handler, not only to place the ball correctly, but get the weight of the pass right too.
Yeah, and again, when your heightened adrenaline kicks in, it can throw that a little bit skew sometimes. Oh, Reyes! Absolutely outstanding. Just tip that ball down.
But Gibraltar really calm. They know what they've got to do. They're not rushing it. We've seen this Gibraltar team really be much more patient than perhaps we have done in previous years.
Yeah, and again, it's the experience, isn't it? The experience mixed with youth. So when you look at which players it is on court that slow it down, and they're constantly talking to each other as well. Your experienced players are talking to your less experienced players, telling them when just to take a breath, resetting when they need to.
Good rebound, pick up by Porter. So we're down to the last 40 seconds in this game. Oh, what a great passage of play by Marino there. Read that ball brilliantly.
Yeah, and that's another cliche, isn't it? If you're stood still and you think you're free, you're
You're
definitely not.
Not when you've got the Marino sisters hunting you from behind.
Oh,
And they're there, picking up the ball.
I've just given loads of credit for being nice and calm. And I know there was 12 seconds at that point in time, but 12
It's a long
seconds
time.
Yeah, it's a really
It's a long time.
I mean, Julie Hormag used to say, you only need the shooters to have the ball in the last 4 seconds so they can set their shot.
Oh, they so deserve that. What a great pass. So as these two teams take to the bench at half time, Gibraltar is leading 26-14. So 12 up, really strong quarter again by Gibraltar.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, 14 played 6 that quarter, so that was huge for Gibraltar and what they need. You know, they're now 12 goals difference. What they need to do now is settle it, make sure they keep looking after theirs, play nice and patient, because I do believe, like I say, over 15 goals, and that puts them in contention as long as the score's quite close, which I think it will be. If the Republic of Ireland do manage to beat Isle of Man, it won't be by a lot because Isle of Man have been on form.
And we have seen Gibraltar both close out a game really effectively, but begin to feel the pressure and stop those critical moves that they've been doing, stand and wait for the ball, not move in space, and it all gets a little bit sticky. So what would you think? You know, you've got an experienced bench on the Gibraltar side, Sarah Paes, you've got Denise Ellis in there supporting as the assistant coach. What they're going to be doing?
I think, you know, they'll be urging them just to be calm. That I think you can see Denise is quite chilled in her stance at the moment. She'll be really calm with them now. She does. She just brings that air of what she wants to happen. So if she needs you to get up to another gear, she'll certainly be a bit more feisty in her body language. And now she's just nice and calm, and she'll be almost expressing that onto the players. And they've got a really good bench, like you say, as well, in terms of the people that can come on. We've seen May Truman Davis come on. She creates.
She's
nice
been
and
playing
calm.
brilliantly this tournament. So they have got options in there. And one of the things I like about Gibraltar is the way they manage the bench, the structure, the setup, the way the coaches are operating. And as we say to players out there, you can watch your position and learn a lot from it. those who want to operate at this level, you can watch these benches and see which is working really, really effectively.
Yeah, and it's the same over the Emirates bench. They're professional coaches. They're really good at what they do. They've split, you can see over there, they've split who they're talking to. So they'll have talked beforehand. They'll know exactly what input. They'll have taken stats. They'll know exactly what it is they need to tweak, and they'll just be giving that back in just short form. Because remember, athletes can only take in a very small amount of information. If you give them 10 points, then they're probably not going to remember any of them. Just needs to be a few succinct points to go on with.
Absolutely. And as you can see, we're bringing you some of those great highlights of that second quarter. So interesting, Sarah Donovan has entered the court. Let's talk about Sarah for a moment. Inspirational woman, inspirational about empowering other people who have gone through some really challenging situations. So for those of you who are tuning in who are not aware, Sarah has had breast cancer. She played the Open last year in the middle of chemotherapy treatment. She went from the Open in May into more chemotherapy, radiotherapy. She's had a double mastectomy in the last 12 months. We spoke to her yesterday, and she's here playing international netball, and not just turning up. She's competing at the highest level. How much must that inspire all of us to do and be the best we possibly can be?
Oh yeah, I mean it's massively inspiring, isn't it? It just makes you think. When you think you've had a bad day, you're just like, you know what, I've got nothing to complain about. And it's funny, Anne-Marie Jenkinson from Northern Ireland from Republic of Ireland was saying just before she went on tour for the touch rugby, she was having a bit of a rough time, and she tuned into one of the blogs that Sarah Donovan had done, and she just gave herself a kick and said, you know what, like that's just inspired me. I've got nothing to complain about. If that woman can do all of this and go through all of that and still be like, you know what, it is what it is.
And that's what she said yesterday. She said, you know what, that's what I've had, that's what I've dealt with. And she said what's got her through it is the camaraderie of her teammates in the Emirates, the support she's felt from the netball world in terms of her blogs and the responses. And what a role model for breast cancer and for other people who are going through it. You can be the best you can be and put that to one side and get on with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, words can't express it, can they?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So if you are inspired by Sarah or the game here or the weekend, tune in to Nat and I. Let us know your thoughts. There's so many of you joining us at this moment in time, all over. So Jane Bryan, you're with us again. Lovely to hear from you. Siobhan Gregory. So Courtney is your cousin by the looks of it. Lynn McMurray. So many people out there. We really hope you're enjoying it. So Dorothy Stapley, either your mum or aunt or something else, grandma perhaps, forgive me, I'll probably get shot for saying that, but you were all so welcome here with us today. Second game of 4 today. If you think this one's important, don't go too far, because coming up shortly at 1 o'clock, our host Isle of Man take on the Republic of Ireland. Republic of Ireland ranked 20th in the world. Gibraltar managed to beat them yesterday. They are rebuilding Ireland, to be fair. What are we going to see in that game?
I think we're going to see a really good performance from the Republic of Ireland. Having Anne-Marie here yesterday, she was. We were joking about the fact that she obviously really wanted Isle of Man to beat Gibraltar, because then it blows it open for them. So I know that they will absolutely be focused on coming out with the win, because they want the medal, and they also will have to win by a reasonable amount when it comes down to goal difference. So yeah, I think it's going to be, I wouldn't want to call it, I don't know.
So we've got that to bring you shortly at 1 o'clock, and then our final game of this tournament. I can't believe we're actually talking about our final 21st game already. At 3 o'clock you will see Israel take on our invitational team, UK Armed Forces. And what a brilliant amount of quality netball the Armed Forces have brought to this tournament for the first time. Never competed at this level. We've been really impressed.
Yeah, and they've got some great players in there. And we talk about rubbing shoulders and inspiring us again. And some of the players have said, you know, they're going onto court and they've been watching some of those players on TV playing Super League, and how amazing it is to then stand on court and play against them. And not just play against them, but these have been contested matches against them as well. They haven't had it all their own way. So, I mean, the exposure that these players have got has been brilliant.
Well, we're really looking forward to bringing you the second half of the game here. Gibraltar against Emirates. Gibraltar leading 26 goals to 14.
Just have to mention Naomi Okanya. The Okanyas are cheering our girl on. They wanted a shout out, please, for Jackson and Neve.
Oh,
so
lovely.
Hi, Jackson and Neve. We're cheering Okanya on, as well as the Emirates team as well, from our neutral position. But she's having a great game.
She's been
on court.
outstanding all weekend, hasn't she?
Yeah, absolutely.
So these two teams lining up.
And it really is the messages from back home. It's like the team behind the team. You forget how many sacrifices family and friends make as well for these players to be here.
Performance athletes are only as good as the people around them, and we all have to up our game. When we're working with somebody who's a performance athlete, we all have to up our own performance standards, and as a family that's a tough ask, because it's not a world many people are in, but the support all of these players get is so invaluable. So our plea to you would be, don't stop doing it. Make sure you recognise being an international athlete is the pinnacle of what these players have achieved. They are the world's best in their sport, and let's not underestimate what that means for them, but also means for family and friends. Huge responsibility. So here we go.
So no changes for the Gibraltar team. And equally,
I think we're as we finished.
Yeah, and that doesn't surprise me. Oh, I think there's actually a positional interchange actually between Gillian Porter and Victoria Soul. So Gillian Porter for the Emirates goes to goal defence, and Victoria Soul has dropped back into that goalkeeper position. And they did that yesterday. They both players play equally well in both positions. Good to see defence on the line by Emirates. Good challenge in by Zoe Stapley.
Oh, great defence by Sol and Porter there. Really, ball should have been swung, perhaps triangles used a bit more. They're not going to get it over those two.
Yeah, I think they'd set up for that space, but there wasn't enough space to set that screen up. Nice long ball through, and well held, Eleanor Wright. See, Donovan just finds the space a little bit more. She sees where the space is and moves around the court according to it. Right there, pulling back, allowing Stapley to full front. She's just very clever.
And scored the goal, pulled one back. 11 now the gap, 26 to 15.
Oh, unlucky Reyes. Just caught the player on the way through.
Great shot by Donovan.
She didn't do a trademark clap. If she doesn't do that next time, we're going to have words. Feet together.
Yeah, setting up the stack. Double split. One forward, one back. You see the speed with it, Pozo roll to the post there.
Yeah. Really good play.
Loving their play in the circle.
And that's a breaking call. Just going over a bit too soon. Nice ball in. Oh.
Dorothy Stapley's come back and said, "Yes, I am, Grandma." So I got it right.
Oh, so Dorothy Stapley's the one I need to apologise for saying the name wrong before. Sorry, Dorothy. I've got it now.
You didn't say Stapley, did you?
I did.
Oh. Sorry, Dorothy.
I did change it. I got the message.
And great to see Helen Edwards joining us. Used to live in Bahrain. So you will have probably worked with Sarah Donovan before.
Oh, we're a bit lucky on that.
Yeah. Close 3 seconds. Good play there by.
Good shot.
Lovely goal. 28 now, 17.
Emirates winning this quarter by 1 at the minute.
Oh, unlucky.
Really nice play through court by Gibraltar. Look at that timing. And the difference as well with Courtney Ferreira and some of the other goal shooters that we've seen is she starts her move away from the post and moves towards the post. And we were talking about the Israel attack, and they move really nicely, but they always move away.
And actually, you can get away with that sometimes if you're playing players who are similar height to you, but when you've got that might of, you know, some of these taller players in defence, it's just not going to be effective.
Yeah.
So it's still 12 up, so level pegging in this quarter so far. 5 minutes gone here.
I do get the feeling now though that Gib are just going to put their foot down on the accelerator a little bit.
Oh, Amy Pozo.
Yeah.
I wonder if Amy's mum and dad are watching back in Gibraltar.
Nice reset by Eleanor Wright, nothing on in front, so just popped it back on again. Just a tiny error creeping in. Good decision to not send that straight through. Carly Lewis was hunting.
That patience, really effective. So I think that was Carly Lewis just been asked to tidy up on the infringement contact.
Yeah, caution given out. First one though, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so for this game. Oh, well read by Porter.
Oh, unlucky, Courtney Ferreira.
So passionate about the game. Nice overlap there.
Both Eleanor Wright and Carly Lewis just moving at the same time. Nice rotation.
Oh, very clever. Great rebound. Come on, Sarah.
There's the clap.
That was her goal.
Body on the line.
31-18.
I think the Emirates bench want them to keep possession.
I'm going to ask Deb Jones because she's next up in the comms. Did you mean for them to keep possession, Deb? Is that what you were saying? I wonder if you heard that back in the Emirates. Deb Jones wants her team to keep possession.
They definitely heard it.
In case anyone's wondering, we say that with a huge amount of respect and love for all our coaches and players out there.
I know I'd be far worse. Yeah.
Oh, unlucky. That was a great triangle.
And beautiful fast hands, and we've seen that throughout the competition by Joelle Marino. Great shot.
14 now at the gap. Halfway until three-quarter time.
Yeah, good arms there by Rachel Tuckey meant that quick ball couldn't go in. It's really good defence.
Joanna Reid saying Sarah's an inspiration on and off the court. We absolutely agree with you. As are many of the players, for lots of different reasons. Whoever plays international netball, I think we would all say, incredible.
You know, the more you walk around and speak to people, the more you hear their stories and people's journeys and a little bit about them, and there's a lot of inspiring people out there. Yeah, beautiful timing. That was good work between Stapley, Lewis and Donovan.
Yeah, she deserves that one. 33-19.
Gibraltar definitely not having it all their own way this quarter. You're a team. Come on, Janice, get up.
My sister would be saying, come on, you're just having a rest. Get on with it.
If I'd played as many games as them, I would have stayed down.
Great position again that we've talked about, Courtney Farrer. That's an instinct for the game, but it's also trained into her. So it will be both that she's got that skill.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of practice.
Oh, lovely change of direction by Stapley there. The rotation's working really well with Donovan now.
It is. It was a clever change, and it's not that, like I say, Marshall was really accurate, and it's not that she isn't a fantastic player. It's just the combination isn't working. And sometimes as coaches, you have to work on what works as a pairing as opposed to who's necessarily playing really well individually.
We talk about netball being a team sport, and sometimes coaches will pick a combination of 7, which you might argue your strongest player isn't in there, but it's about the combinations and the way they play together.
Yeah, and it's really important to get a culture that players understand that as well, because sometimes, you know, players can question, they know they're playing well, they know they've had a good game individually, so it's really important that they can recognise as well, and you can create that culture where they understand combinations are just as important.
Well, it's certainly not over here yet at Douglas on the Isle of Man. Gibraltar 34, Emirates 21.
Yeah, nice, good timing.
I'd like to see those players when they get the ball and the shooters turn to the post, threaten the post every time.
I was just thinking exactly the same thing. She didn't turn on that, did she?
Didn't look at all, and it just makes the defenders step back, which gives you more space if you do want to do the pop in and out.
Yeah. Brilliant shot, Amy Pozo. Just so patient to work it to the circle edge at the moment, Jib.
Showing huge amount of maturity. 36-21. You talked about that 15-goal gap. I wonder if Gibraltar has done any of their maths last night.
Yeah,
Nat, you know, and
I'm
it
sure
does depend on Ireland beating the Isle of Man. Otherwise, in some ways, if it's the opposite result, it's academic, because Isle of Man will be unbeaten in the Netball Europe Open.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I say, please don't quote me on that 15 goals. It's rough, based on a few guesses of the other score being very close if they turn it. If it's a more heavier score, then they'll need more goals than that.
Well, we were joking with Maggie Jackson earlier this morning that did she have Colette Thompson on standby with her mathematical genius brain that she has, just in case we need her today.
But it's funny, isn't it? You talk about sport, and actually maths is actually quite important in sport.
It is.
With your stats and everything else. So if you're a youngster and you're sporty, your schoolwork is still super important.
Absolutely.
All the mums out there, you can pay me later.
Oh, great ball into Donovan. Whistle had already gone.
Oh, great rebound by Ravigno. Oh, unlucky Eleanor Wright. She read that really nicely.
She did.
Oh, good decision.
That was a really good passage of play by Gibraltar. Their centre pass. 16 goals in it. 2 minutes on the clock to three-quarter time.
I think Emirates at the moment also trying to keep the two Marino sisters off the circle edge. But they're still finding their way through at the moment.
Yeah.
It's the same structure as well for Gibraltar. They both seem to have the same tactics at the moment to try and play their mid-court off the circle edge.
Oh, great hands there by Marino. It's getting the tip around the edge of the circle. So important that pressure is on there.
Yeah, and equally if your attack ball placement is super important, and holding that space off when you're around the edge is super important as well. Nice long ball. Good decision. Wait for some support.
So just a minute to go here on the Isle of Man. What a weekend of netball we've had as well.
That's been fantastic. There's been so many really good games, and I genuinely think that the improvement these countries have made over a year has been really phenomenal. Yeah, nice.
Oh, great roll to the post. See that split happening. Nothing the defenders could do about that.
No, and those two are working together really nicely. Oh, cheeky back pass.
Got another Captivati here.
Yeah. Good stretch by Victoria Sol, but not enough to put Courtney Ferreira off.
No, and that takes them to 40 against 23. There's 15 seconds left on the clock, plenty of time, but not if you hold the ball for 3 seconds.
Now there's 10.
Ball gone. Down to 7. They just need to get in the circle, let them shoot. Nice defending by Porter. Clever. Now that was really disciplined defence there, because we've seen so many times the defender at that last minute just gives away the penalty.
Yeah.
So really good defending.
Yeah, and nice patience by Gibraltar as well, and that's something again that you need to train for. We tend to have, or we did have when I was in Welsh camps, the 10-second game. So every now and then in your training, when you'd be working on stuff, you'd shout 10. And from that point in time, they had 10 seconds to score. So your athletes get used to having that 10-second pressure and actually understanding how long 10 seconds is.
That's a really good tactic. I like that one. I'm going to just make a mental note, write that one down. So at 3/4 time here at the National Sports Centre on the Isle of Man, we have Gibraltar leading this game against Emirates 40-23. We know they need to take this match, and they need to take it strongly with a big margin if they're to stay in the running for the gold medal here this weekend. But of course it's all to come next when we see Ireland take on our hosts Isle of Man.
Yeah, and they've done that. They pushed that out really well. It was very close in the first half of that quarter, and this is what we're seeing from Gib throughout this game, is they've started off nice and steady, and then they've just put the accelerator on towards the end, and it's really clever and tactical, because whenever you go on, you're a little bit wobbly to start off with, and then you just, once you get into that flow, just push, and 17 goals would be enough, I do believe, if they were to turn it. But it's not over, and Emirates will not want that to be the case. They'll be wanting to come out and fight right until the bitter end. I'm not sure whether it's doable for them to come out with a win from here, especially against a talented side such as Gibraltar, but they will want to win the quarter.
And as you can see from some of the highlights on the screen, we've been talking about the game and the elements of it. Both teams bringing some brilliant passages of play into this match.
Yeah, and I said at the beginning that I thought it would be a defensive game, an end of two defences, but actually both circles have impressed me with their work. So I think, as we said before, Donovan coming on, the work between Donovan and Stapley has been really nice. They've created some really good space in that circle, which is definitely not easy against the pairing of Raveno and O'Connor. So that's really impressive. And equally, Ferreira and Pozo down the other end have equally been doing the same. I think theirs is more aided by their mid-quarters. So the two Marino sisters have been finding really good positions to open them up. So they're making the ball do the work to open up the circle, and that's really clever play.
I'm sitting scanning the Gibraltar bench here. I'm not seeing any indication that they're going to make any changes, and possibly if you're the coaching staff, not at this stage in this game when they're playing so effectively.
No, it's the business end now, isn't it? It's really important that they close out this win and close it out strong. And I don't think there's any player on that 7 that deserve to come off. They've all earned their place to stay on. That's not to say that any of the 5 wouldn't be a good replacement. It's just sometimes you have to stick with what's working and reward those players for the performance that they've put out by leaving them on the court. They also don't have anything to rest for now. This is it.
This is the last 15 minutes. So these guys have put their bodies on the line this weekend. Every single team has played at least one day where they've played 2 international games. And that's partly because we're so successful in inviting teams here, but we also recognise that we try to pack in as much for member countries as possible. Clearly all of these games are ranking games, world ranking games. For Emirates and for the Isle of Man here this weekend, they're not yet rated in the world rankings, but after this weekend they will be. So for both teams there is so much at stake here, and to find themselves in those world rankings, certainly with the performance of Gibraltar and what they achieved in Hong Kong and other competitions this year, we should see them beginning to creep up the world ranks. We might even see them in the top 20 this year, which would be an amazing achievement for them.
And actually, I think they're well deserved of it. I don't think, when you look at them play, they're a really quality side. And as I said before, the progress they've made in a year has been phenomenal. And that's hard work by lots of people back in Gibraltar, not just the people that you see on court, but a hell of a lot of work gone into making that happen.
So Farah takes a brilliant shot. Andrea Farah is with us today. So assuming, Andrea, your mum to Courtney, you'll be super proud, as I'm sure you are every day. She's playing brilliantly.
Yeah, great strong pressure by Gibraltar there. Good strong arms over as well by Reyes. There is a change, isn't there, for Emirates? Just a positional change, I think, between the centre and the wing defence. So Carly Lewis has gone to wing defence and Eleanor Wright has gone to centre.
So throw into Emirates. So great to have year 4 from Foremark School with us today, supporting Miss Marshall and Miss Jacobi. I hope you can hear us. Send us your photo to let us know you've heard us. Looks like you're having an amazing time, so enjoy the rest of this game.
I think it's Simone Jacobi as well that's come on at wing attack for Emirates. So they'll be pleased now she's on the court, cheering her on.
Yeah, it is indeed. Good spot. Pozo with the shot.
Good shot.
So 43 now plays 23. They are beginning to pull ahead a little bit more, Nat.
They are, but the Emirates won't give in. They will keep working.
And it's great early release finding Donovan.
I like Jacobi. She's very patient on the ball.
Oh, lucky. That's great. Take with the reverse hand. Just offside though, unfortunately. Oh. Great shot by Donovan.
Just patiently working the ball down. They've pulled it a little bit shorter, Gibraltar. I'm not sure whether that's tactical or forced. We'll keep an eye on it. They seem just to be playing a little bit shorter netball, probably just looking after the ball. Nice ball through to Eleanor Wright. It's a beautiful feed. Simone Jacobi does that so well. Good recovery. Just gives them time to reset. Oh.
Playing off the floor. So tempting, isn't it? But you know when you do, you're going to get pulled. Stapley breathing out there. Lovely composure on her shot.
You see how they've just shortened it up. People coming just towards the ball.
Yeah, playing really, yeah.
There's a good tussle going on there between Carly Lewis and Janice Marino.
There's a split. We don't always see shooters playing that, but it is really highly effective.
Yeah, it
really
does
open up the circle.
Again, just need a bit of width. Emirates, they're all very close together on the same side of the court.
Donovan out, try to mix it up. Nice. See, that was really clever. Donovan coming out opened up the opportunity for Stapley to go to post.
Yeah, she's a really clever player. Look, that's the clap I like. Get her the ball again. Come on.
So 44-26. As you said, Nat, Emirates still very much competing in this match.
Oh, contact call. Against the wing attack there. Well forced by Reyes.
I've just had a virtual slap on the wrist because I said about Andrea Ferrer, is she her mum? No, she's her twin sister. Andrea, my apologies. Blame the excitement of the match.
In fairness, we do only see names.
Great defence again by Marino, forces the ball. Just 9 minutes left of this brilliant game here. I don't actually want it to end.
No, and I'm sure they probably do if they're on the Gibraltar side because they've got a good goal difference now. But I agree with you, I don't really want it to end either. Should we make them play for another half an hour?
Yeah, why not? Lovely shot by Farah.
I love how calm she is. I know I've said that before, so I'm sorry if I'm boring you at home, but she's just so calm on that shot.
Oh, what a great overlap. Oh. Isn't there something interesting about advantage in our game being played sometimes, perhaps? Not being controversial? Well, I am.
I think he probably blew before he realised where it was going to land. It's always a tricky one, isn't it?
And if Gary Burgess is listening in, he would be the first to explain the rules of netball to me. So, Gary, I look forward to your call later. I'm really impressed by the intensity with which both these teams are playing after such a hard weekend of netball.
Yeah, and some absolutely outstanding periods of play as well. There's definitely been moments in time that if you took away the ability to see which teams they were, you wouldn't be sure that this was the challenge section.
Oh, and I think that's absolutely right. This level of competition is giving all these teams the ability to just be the best that they can. And we know in performance sport it's quite simple. Play good quality matches on a regular basis, embrace the performance culture and framework, and this is what happens.
Yeah.
It's really brilliant to see.
Oh, beautiful shot. And don't underestimate the job that Simone Jacobi has done since she's come on this court in terms of her feeding role and just getting that ball on circle edge. Good time in there by Amy Pozo as well on her drive.
So 48 plays 28. 6.5 minutes left. This could be a good score for Gibraltar in keeping the hopes of the gold medal alive here for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well balanced there by Carly Lewis as well. That was a tough ball to take.
Lovely goal scored by Stapley.
Yeah, I think they're happy with this scoreline, Gibraltar. They're not throwing anything that's a 50-50 ball or anything that's a bit risky. They're just playing really safe netball now.
I love the fact that Emirates is still attacking every opportunity they can. It's showing a huge amount of maturity in terms of the level of play. And we shouldn't forget, again, Emirates have only been an international member country for a couple of years. So I think this is only their second tournament at this level.
Yeah, and they've got such strong youngsters coming up as well. I mean, you can see some of them now. Eleanor Wright on court, centre. Zoe Stapley on at goal attack. Their future is very bright.
Jane Bryan's liking your comments about Simone Jacobi. Nat, she agrees fully with you. So we are literally down to the last 5 minutes here. 49 plays 30. Such a big scoreline in one respect, but it doesn't reflect the quality of the game.
No, it doesn't. I think it just reflects the fact that Gibraltar have played very clinical netball. And I'd say the scoreline difference is more just from a few errors from Emirates, because when they've played well, they have played really, really good netball.
There you go. There's one of those feeds you were talking about. Pinpoint accuracy.
Yeah, and just calm and collected. And, I love players like that because they're not flashy and they don't always get noticed. But if you stand there and do a tick chart and start taking stats on them, you suddenly realise that they are so crucial to the game.
Who are the most effective players? Absolutely right. So Donovan.
Yes.
Another one. She's so happy. Brilliant. Oh, Jane Bryan. So you're Simone Jacobi's mum.
Hi, Mum.
Nice. That's great play there by Joelle Moreno. She coaches the under-17s as well, so that whole kind of family approach to netball in Gibraltar is part of what's made, I think, such a difference over the last few years. They all take responsibility for supporting the development of the sport.
Yeah, they're an amazing bunch of people in Gibraltar, absolutely phenomenal. Give up so much time to the sport and for each other.
Three and a half minutes to go, still 18 in it. Really good quarter by Emirates, this one.
Yeah, absolutely. They, like I say, we didn't think they would give up. They'd want to win the quarter, I would imagine. There was 17 in it before, 18 in it now, so they're still in contention to win it or at least draw it. So
good decision by Poser. She looked at Fair and then she thought, you know what, I've got two defenders out here. Need to put the shot up.
good entry. And that's again something that we don't see very often, or haven't seen very often this weekend, but these guys do really well, is when you're entering, you don't have to run behind the defence. Sometimes you just have to run, hit them and turn, and that's what Amy Pozo did really well.
Lovely feed through to Jacobi.
Yeah, again, lovely.
I love Sarah's reaction.
Doesn't it make you want to give her the ball?
Yeah, absolutely. So 2 minutes of this game remaining, which sees both Emirates and Gibraltar close out their Netball Europe campaign here this year. I doubt Gibraltar will go very far away. They'll have a quick shower, a quick recovery in the ice baths and be back out here to watch the game.
Yeah.
Ireland versus Isle of Man. Wonder who they might be cheering on in that game.
Oh, don't know. Feel very grateful to have watched this match, actually. It's made me smile from nose to ear most of the time. Just some brilliant netball on display. If you're tuning in at home, you're very lucky as well. Gillian Porter still wanting her players to work.
She's actually an incredible athlete herself. I've seen her working and preparing for netball in terms of her sort of physical approach. Really puts in the hours in the gym.
It shows.
So here we go, the last minute, 52-32. I love her face.
What do you mean? I pushed her over. Is that not loud?
No. Stapley with an amazing shot.
Yeah, nice front cut. Good defence there by Victoria Soul.
Farah sinks yet another fabulous shot.
We could still have one more left in this.
We could still have two more.
I think that's optimistic.
I'm an optimist, always. Oh, unlucky. Just not quite the right angle in the pass.
There's a long time, 12 seconds, breathe. Yeah, great change direction.
They're going to look now. This is the time. You're 4 seconds to get it in the circle, wasn't it, you said?
Oh.
Don't give away the penalty.
But this is a long shot.
Come on, Amy. Yeah, she loved that. And so that sees us here. Emirates against Gibraltar. Gibraltar take the match 54 goals to 33.
Wow.
Absolutely incredible netball. Great quarter by both teams. Again, it was an Emirates 14-10 in that one as well, Nat.
Yeah, and Gibraltar have been really consistent, 12, 14, 14, 14. Emirates best score that quarter for them, scoring 10, and you know, I think we saw that on court. Both teams should be really proud of that performance. I think they both did really well, and that's not just me sitting on the fence. Genuinely very impressive netball.
I mean, the quality of netball out there was amazing, and thrilled for both teams. So don't go too far away. We are literally back here at 1 o'clock to see what will be the decider for the Netball Europe Open Challenge event. Isle of Man against Republic, and then at 3 o'clock our final game of the day, UK Armed Forces against Israel. Straight after that we'll be bringing you the presentation live here, and you'll also get to see not only who's won both the invitational event but also the Netball Europe and the player of the tournament. So all to play for. Don't go too far away. Nat, thank you for being here again. It's been a real pleasure. What a game to share with you. To Netball Europe and to our host Isle of Man, thank you both very much. To QTV Sports for bringing the live streaming to you, and of course to all of you who've joined us on Sunday and kept us very much amused with your texts and your shouts out. We really appreciate it. Don't go too far away.